What's up, Mask, Knit, Karen? I know No Backstitch is Karen, but their name is No Backstitch. So I hope I'm not doxing them. Tommy, what's up? Hopefully the audio, I say this every time. To me it sounds crisp, clean, clear. I will agree that if the audio is low when the ads run, it's like blaringly loud. So I get that problem. But we're gonna try to pressure on through here, push on through. If you guys and gals want me to look at anything specifically, just let me know. We'll get started here in a few minutes. No, Masky, no. Not financial advice. Anti-guru, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Crypto market's feeling mighty angry today. It's been the theme lately. Just unable to hold on to anything. Alt's definitely not the play. Continue to not be the play. You just know there's somebody out there who has yet to capitulate on their alt bags, and it will inevitably sell the bottom. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Has Curve started the self-destruct sequence? Yeah. Look, I've said this for years and years and years and years. Not financial advice, but most DeFi tokens have no reason to exist. You'll love the protocol. It'll suck you in. You'll buy the token, and then you'll be a community member. Curve the protocol is great. Link the protocol is great. Aave the protocol is great. It's fine to participate in that stuff. It works, but the tokens have not bared fruit over time, in my opinion. El Guru is short at 72. Yeah, I mean, look, both sides of the book kind of getting chopped up for 100 days now. It's funny. Quite the range, quite the relentless chop. What's up, Nano? We'll get started. All right. Alrighty dighty. Guess I never really finished this page, but oh well. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. So sentiment-wise, I don't know. You know, you wake up one day, it's like we're back, it's over. We're back, it's over. Just feels like we're in this spiral on the Bitcoin side. The tough part is, like I have here, legacies at all-time highs, right? So it's like, what's going on? I think, I don't want to blame the miners alone for this, but I think a big part of it is miner selling. It's easy to just say, oh yeah, it's that one thing. That's the problem. We fix that. Things will get better. But we'll look at the metric, specifically the hash ribbons. There's a reason hash ribbons have worked. It's because if the miners are capitulating, they're typically selling BTC. If the miners are stressed, they're selling BTC. The reason that signal works is because when they're not stressed, they don't sell BTC, right? What's up, Gulshi? Romans. We're also early on the post-halving schedule. So as far as sentiment, I mean, I'm like firmly in the neutral camp. I don't know how you ladies and gentlemen are feeling, but it feels solidly neutral to me. Solidly neutral. When you're neutral, you know, leverage down, size, down, alts, down. The weird part is miners have been doing super, super well. Part of that is Orange Man embracing miners. The problem with Orange Man embracing miners, Donald Trump, for those of you who are unaware, the problem with that is if Donald Trump loses now, miners are just toast. Like, miners are going to sell off, right? Miners, as soon as something becomes political, people are going to trade it around political events. So I would definitely be mindful of that come the election. If you're turbo max long miners, that is going to get super volatile on election day for sure. So yeah, neutral. I don't know. Not much going on price wise. We'll look at a bunch of other stuff. Post halving, we are early still. 25 weeks. Again, it's like survive for Q4. Q4 is where you want to live. Dial back all the other garbage. Don't get chopped up. Don't lose some percentage of your book to dumb trades. That's the goal here. The goal here is just be patient. Flows have been up on the ETFs, but not really, because it's been the basis trade, which is where they long the ETF, short the futures. We'll look at the metric for that. TA wise, we're just flat. We'll look at all the miners. Like I said, the miners have been doing really well. A lot of people for a long time have been bullish on the miners. It's this whole like political regulatory thing that has been this white swan for miners, because there was the opposite of that for so long. So again, you just got to be mindful. Like, why are miners doing well right now? Well, I imagine the political situation is helping them. There's also something from ERCOT we'll talk about. There's two big risks for me for miners, BTC miners. There's a massive political risk now because they're synonymous with Republicans for the most part. The second risk is the concentration risk, the geographic risk in Texas. If we start to see issues with power, with AI, with the grid, and all of a sudden they're like, you know what, we're going to limit miners, no more permits, whatever, right? That's going to change things. For the miners specifically, the Bitcoin network could care less. It's better for the network if miners are scattered to the wind every couple of years and are perpetually just moving around the country, because that decreases the network risk, right? But those risks are there. Those risks are definitely there. Alts have just been a dumpster fire. They're giving up breakouts immediately. Meme coins just destroyed, right? Which is good. I like to see that. Ben Cowan, ICT, he talks a lot about this every other day, but it's this liquidity that is being sold for BTC, right? There's not enough money in the ecosystem to hold up everything. There just isn't. I mean, look at the volume. Look how things are trading every day on the volumes on this stuff. It's just not the time to be broadly into alts. Sol is firmly ranging. BNB we'll look at. I haven't looked at it today, but it completely retraced the breakout. I still like the long-term stuff, right? That's the other part about this. If you're bullish, like, if you think Banana Zone Solana is the play this cycle, don't listen to me. Just pick your time zone or your time horizon, stick to it, have some conviction, whatever, right? Like, we've been ranging for 100 days on BTC. So when we get cooking again, we should be fine. The longer the base, the higher in space. That's what they say, right? Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. INJ, I haven't looked at it today. Had a really nice breakout after stalling for a couple days. DeFi, again, it's just a dumpster fire. I have a chart. We'll take a look at the index. I've tried to find an index that goes back before 2020 I think FTX used to have a really good one, but that's no longer operational, obviously. So we'll take a look at a DeFi index. For those of you unaware, Curve, there's a large Curve loan using the Curve token by the Curve founder. That has been liquidated. So what does he care? He has a mansion and millions of dollars, you know? Anyway. And this is the other challenging part right now for crypto. We should be doing well in a vacuum based on CPI down, FOMC that, in my opinion, was kind of all over the place. I don't think anybody listened to Jay yesterday and felt confident on anything. You can let me know. Some people, again, it's a Rorschach test. They're going to say, oh man, he was so hawkish. Or, oh man, the dot plot was so hawkish. I still think we get 2 cuts this year. The jobs stuff is going to be problematic for them for sure. We had PPI down today. That's the purchaser index. So the metrics are showing inflation and slowing pretty significantly. And then we've got the legacy indices at all-time high, and we are just going in the opposite direction. There's another chart we'll look at, BTC against the S&P. It's a good one to just keep in mind, because if that starts to break out, then that should give us additional momentum from the TradFi folk looking for other stuff, right? What else happened this week? I don't think there's anything else super big. Is that paper hands? Anyway, then we have BTC relative to halving. We're early, right? 25 weeks is basically when we start blasting off. We're on like week 9. So we got time. And you just have to not blow up until that, right? Doing like 10x, 50x leverage here just is not the play. It's not the play. Not the play. What's up, Dom? It's just not the play. As far as flows are concerned, flows have seemingly picked up, but in reality, if we look at price, I'm trying to find the sheet. Is this the right one? There were a lot of questions from people like, oh, we're seeing these massive inflows and prices literally going down. What's going on, right? This is why people finally started asking the question. There's obviously something more here than meets the eye, because you'd expect 2 billion in flows, pretty big up move, at least breaking all-time highs, right? But we're not seeing that. So this led people to talk about the basis trade and looking at what that is and what that means. Ideally what we want is basically what we had in May. You know, we had this slow, constant bid of inflows. We certainly had it in January and February, but we've kind of been unable to have just this steady days of inflows, just gobbling up BTC that's not related to the basis trade. So if we look at how profitable the basis trade is, Velo data is probably the best place to look at this. I'll just put this in the chat. They just have this ready to go, but you want to look at the BTC CME annualized basis. So what are people doing? Again, they are long BTC via spot ETFs because you don't have to worry about counterparty risk anymore. You don't have to worry about hacks, right? It's a relatively riskless trade compared to what it used to be. And you can see the basis has collapsed a little bit, 14% to 10%. So this is what people are playing around with, people being hedge funds. So they are making the spread, they're making the premium, the funding, however you want to think about that. You can get like a 5%, 5.25% on the risk-free rate. So as long as the basis here is above 5.25% by a decent amount, then it's an attractive trade to target. Theoretically, it should have no impact on spot prices. we'll see, right? We already saw the other side of that equation. Massive inflows, people saying, what the heck's going on? Eventually, we will see massive outflows related to this trade, and people are going to say, what the heck's going on? But you just have to know, you know, what's underneath the hood here. What are people actually doing? You can look at the futures OI as well and compare that to the flows. Similar idea, right? So not exactly bullish just looking at the flows alone, clearly, because price would be above 72 by now. Sorry. Joey, link for the last 3 happening lines. What? Link for the last 3 happening line. Thanks, DZ. Link for the last 3 happening. Oh, the link for the chart. Okay. Yeah. I didn't hit the mute in time. Anyway, so that's the basis trade. So don't get bamboozled if flows are plus or minus 2 billion in a week. We have to check this, right? What does the basis look like annualized? Is it rising? Is it falling? What is futures OI? Is it rising? Is it falling? It's not like it's unknowable. It just complicates things a little bit. It's not the same as $1 in is $1 in BTC. It's not a net long position. So you just have to keep that in mind. Clearly with this basis flying all over the place, you know, somebody's doing something here, right? So that's that. The other part of this basis trade, somebody put together this list. I don't know who's CB. It might just be CB Insights. They put together the list of the top 80 holders of the ETFs. And at the very top, Millennium, they apparently are shopping this trade around to people. And they're known for this type of trade in the basis stuff. But again, if it's big enough, somebody's going to go after it, right? It's basically free money. You know, it's like looking at negative funding on a DEX and Athena capturing that somehow, right? Or an individual doing that. I don't think anybody else on this list is super surprising other than the Wisconsin teacher's pension. I don't know if that's even on here. I'm sure it's on here somewhere, but wealth, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Anyway, interesting list. We'll know more information in the next quarter when more of those 13Fs get released. As far as price, you know, not much going on. Not much going on. The other part about this ETF stuff is you kind of have to think, when are the capital allocators, when are the people with all the money making the decisions? Are they doing that in the summer? Probably not. Probably not. Do they need more time to get things connected? Do they need to do more due diligence? Like, you know, definitely have to think about that. So what do we want? We just want a steady flow. We don't want these massive spikes of flows, honestly. But anyway, price, we're in the rainbow chart. This thing has been pretty dead on the money. You just have to have a time horizon that makes sense, right? You know, there's the people with the meme coins that are here for this weekend, and then there's a lot of other people who are here for much longer, right? So you just have to make that decision. Doesn't mean you can't do both, but if you're thinking, man, this is like watching paint dry, yeah, it is. I'm just trying to look up the this other one. So this is the long-term power law, and this has us underneath the midpoint still. That's currently at 82. ultimately the slower we go, the better. The more this is like 2016, 2017, 2018, the better. We want the moving averages to catch up. We want buyers and sellers to come to an equilibrium. We want price to establish a support level, right? Or resistance, whatever. And that's definitely what we're doing. So if you zoom out on the rainbow chart, we are also fine, right? This is just another version of some sort of log regression. You can look at all these and look into Bitcoin. Various variations on levels, cycle master, you know, they explain it at the bottom what's going on here, but every 4 years correlate with halving events. Rates are up, liquidity's down. You know, we're just kind of waiting to see more data points, right? It's unfortunate that we're in this position where we're just waiting for the Fed. Here's golden ratio chart. The top side of this is at 89. That can go higher. So there's lots of metrics we can look at and say, we look fine. We're definitely not at a cycle top. Here's the pi cycle, everyone's favorite. Showing plenty of room in my book. So I'm not worried about anything. I just think we need time. Here's the 2-year moving average multiplier. That's at 165. I just think we need time. We need time. Time to have more money in the ecosystem, more buyers. I don't know. Looks fine to me. The hard part is just being patient. Just kind of forgetting what's going on and keeping your eye on the prize. Here's global liquidity, which hasn't really ticked up. It's ticked up to all-time highs, but that was April. That was a while ago. So we're still just kind of chilling here. Not much going on. And the Banana Zone alt people, you know, they want this stuff where it's just crazy year over year. I think we can look at that on here. Crazy year over year changes. Where is the year over year? Global M2. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's going from where we are now to plus 20% or plus 15% or something, right? You know, that's what we're going to see. A big spike for sure. Price-wise. One other thing I was looking at the other day was this active addresses metric. The problem with on-chain analysis is things have changed over the years continuously. We're not, you know, it's not the same network it is today as 2016. To me, the reason active addresses have dropped off is because of the ETFs. A lot of people don't need to participate on chain anymore. They could care less, right? So it makes sense to me that we're seeing active addresses just go off a cliff aside from price because of the ETFs. Is my face in the way? Sorry. That's my hope anyway. We can also look at the number of new addresses. The number of new addresses is at a multi-year low. This is new addresses per day. 204,000 per day. I've never transacted on chain every day, even less so now. So I can understand it. There's just not a lot of reason for people to transact on chain. And you can see when this spiked, these new addresses per day, it tends to spike near a cycle high. But I think what the difference was this time was the ETFs, right? We saw, you know, BitB publishes their addresses. That's the Bitwise. They've got like, I don't know, 20 addresses for X million, they don't need an address for each person. Same thing with IBIT. IBIT doesn't need an address for each person. So without the ETFs, I'd say this is pretty bearish. But with the ETFs, I'd say it doesn't really matter because, again, most people aren't on-chain anyway. MVRV is another one, market cap versus realized value. That's when the last time coins have moved on-chain. We are at 2. We tend to hit 7, 8, 9 at the cycle highs. So something like this tells me I'm not really worried about what's going on here. You know, this does not look like a cycle high based on MVRV. Isn't that low in addresses exactly the opposite of what Bitcoin was supposed to be? Sure, I mean, it's Satoshi's vision, right? Satoshi's vision. There's a lot of people on the Lightning Network that are not on this graph. And you could say the same thing about ETH. If we pull up, let me just pull up Etherscan real quick. What you really need to look at is active addresses, new addresses across the layer 1 and the layer 2s to really get a better sense of what's going on. The ETFs are not, you know, it's not really a medium of exchange, Bitcoin, for ETFs. Where are their charts? Did they move them? So you're not going to see active addresses up, right? Would it be better if we did? Of course, but that's not ERC20. There we go. So here's ETH. This is unique addresses. These never go down, obviously, but this is daily active addresses. ETH daily active addresses have really been flat for a long time in the 300,000, 400,000 range. You aren't seeing, you know, maybe if you apply like a 30-day moving average or something, you're seeing a move higher, but in general, you're not really seeing much go on with ETH on active addresses. Sorry, that's ERC20. Here's on-chain. So 500,000. And that's been flat for a couple of years. That's not going to get any better, most likely, with the ETFs. So all these metrics based on on-chain data kind of get less powerful, less meaningful if we have other ways to access this stuff, right? The other one you can look at is Artemis for the layer 2s, and you can compare like Solana versus everything else or whatever. And I guess we could look at like who's here on all these chains. This is another free site for anybody curious. Don't think anybody's on BNB either. Bitcoin, what else we got? Yeah, Optimism. Is there like a layer 2? It's just not straightforward anymore, right? It's not 1 + 1 = 2 with on-chain data. It has gotten very complicated to really know what's going on here, to really understand where does the value accrual happen. So the yellow is BNB. BNB actually had a ton of active addresses. Well, that's 23, sorry, December 23, so that's only gone down. Solana is the green, the turquoise there, that's gone up a lot. What else we got here? Should probably make this bigger, huh? Base in the deep blue in the background there, Bitcoin in the orange. So here's a headline for you. Base active addresses have surpassed Bitcoin. How about that? I'm surprised we haven't seen that headline. Not that I care, but I just don't know how, does this really matter anymore? You know, obviously it's better if we see all these charts going up and to the right. I just don't think I don't think the analysis is relevant anymore because you have many other ways to access these products now, at least Bitcoin. Maybe more relevant for something like, if we go to like AVAX or something, right? What are these categories? Sorry. If you go to like AVAX C chain, you know, here's the AVAX C chain versus base. Nobody's using the C chain versus base, right? It's not happening. And if you look at the last time AVAX popped, price-wise, was when it had all these transactions. December, you know, if we pull off the chart, I bet mid-December was the high for AVAX. Since then, nobody really cares, right? It's this locust mentality where you get people moving from chain to chain to chain, trading whatever, getting bribed to do participation stuff, right? And then the locusts eat the field and they move on. They move on to the next thing. Not a lot of sustained activity here. Let's go back to the layer ones and we'll get rid of this just because I'm curious. If we go year to date. So Tron, that's the other thing. Tron's at the top, Near's at the top, Solana's at the top. Tron activity is just Tether. That's literally all it is. It's Tether stablecoin activity. Anyway, so not everything is always as it seems. MVRV looks fine. We should see this play out as expected, even with the ETFs, because if people are selling, that shows up on chain eventually, and that would be additive to the realized value as long as it's higher. Anyway, so that should be fine. Realized cap hodl waves, also difficult because a lot of this was GBTC. We've got GOX coins moving. Those are coins that haven't moved in what, a decade, right? So that's coming out of the 3 to 5 year slice and getting moved into the lower tier slice. Anyway, so you just have to be careful with what you're looking at and understand, like, why could this be up or down? Does this really mean anything? JP Morgan talking about most of the ETF inflows being people who are moving from on-chain to off-chain. They're moving from, you know, hardware wallets, exchanges. This is exchange balances for BTC continues to just plummet. I wish they had higher time frame on this, but that's a multi-year low. Hasn't really mattered so far. ETH, I don't know what that is. Is that correct? Is there a massive spike in ETH recently somewhere? I don't think so. Maybe Bitfinex. I think that's not right. I don't think that's right. Anyway, with the ETFs, you're going to see a lot less activity on chain. That's just kind of it. I'm trying to think what else on this that's even helpful right now. I don't think there's much of anything. I don't really like fear and greed. I don't think that's too useful. I know people look at it, but it's not really for me. It's flat, neutral up here. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's, if it'll load. I don't think it's hot or cold up here. So it's at 70. I don't know. It's not terrible. Anyway, that's Bitcoin. Miners. So miners have seen spikes in fees. There was There was some issue with OKCoin where they were outbidding themselves trying to get transactions on the network. So there was a massive fee spike there. The ordinals fee spikes are over. But if you're in the miners, you want to see fees high. I mean, you just do, right? So we kind of saw that the other day with the on-chain liquidations and stuff, but it's not sustained. It hasn't really been sustained for quite some time. And this is partly why we're seeing miner stress. This is the Puel multiple, which shows miners in profit, max mass profit versus max mass stress. And this is showing below the neutral point. So miners are definitely hurting here for sure. And that's probably why the hash ribbons, which are the 30 and 60-day moving average of hash rate, that's probably why those are rolling over. Because you've got miners selling, capitulating, closing up shop. Historically, when this flips, it's been a decent time to buy, historically. We can look at this in bull versus bear periods. Last time, post-halving, this was a bull to bear cross that was positive, bull to bear cross that was positive. We had one in August. This was probably aided by miners. So we definitely know miners are selling because we can look on chain. Some crypto quant, assuming we can trust the wallet labeling here, there's definitely miner related selling spiking in a big way. So that's not helping our cause. You know, when you're in a range consolidating, this is part of the battle between people coming to an equilibrium on price. It's the whales selling, retail buying, whales buying, right? It's everybody trying to figure out what position they want one way or the other. But clearly big spike in miner selling based on that data. This is Marathon isolated. Marathon reports their holdings each month, I assume. I think, yeah, it's each month. So we should know pretty soon how much they've sold if this is accurate, right? Which it should be. So that's probably a majority of the sellers. This is a massive post about ERCOT talking about miners being responsible for over 50% of the growth and how that they still need to grow a lot in Texas. So Texas is probably the last place to put the kibosh on miners, but it's out there. This is a risk, right? This is a risk for them. I don't think they'd close down the miners, but if things get problematic with the grid, they will probably go after the miners. What else are they going to do? You know, you could argue the miners have helped the grid more than hurt the grid, which is probably true, but that might not matter if they're having issues over there in Tejas. This is older data, but this is where a lot of the miners geographically in the United States are sitting, in Texas and Georgia for some reason, right? This is Georgia, I think. New York State. But I'm sure this graph has changed a lot, even in the past 6 months. So price-wise, I don't know. Like, we look fine. There's not any imminent anything. We're just ranging. This is the pitchfork zoomed way out. We are in the pitchfork. We could go all the way down here and be fine. Just kind of is what it is, you know. There's not really anything that's imminent. I think the only thing that everyone is watching is obviously this level that we haven't been able to recapture. And we can say, is this some sort of, I don't know, something, right? Who knows? Who knows what this could be? None of that really matters because all of it's just the depth of the range. It doesn't matter what pattern it is, but it is helpful that we are holding lows instead of breaking lows. But anyway, if you just measure the depth, that gives you the level. So if you're bullish, you're positioning for that, clearly. I certainly was in May into early June. But so far, we haven't really seen much of anything. Cloud says we're fine. We are definitely momentumless here with flat TK lines. If we do nothing for like 2 months, you can see how the cloud, we will like run into the cloud and the cloud will flip bearish eventually, but we've got time to make that decision. On the pitchfork, we'd be okay down to like 52. On the cloud, we really don't want to lose 64. If we lose 64, then we flip from bullish cloud to neutral cloud. Below 56, we flip from neutral to bearish. So if you're not confident on anything here, just do nothing, you know? I don't think there's anything to do. I like DCA, I guess. You know, like if you think prices are going to be higher 3 to 6 months from now, DCA makes sense. I don't think leverage makes any sense here, at least high leverage. 2x is fine, but 5x, 10x, 20x, whatever, you're just going to get absolutely chopped up. Chopped to smithereens. Even on low time frames, I don't even, like, what is this range, right? What is this? I don't know. It's just Barty summer stuff, I guess. You can see the CPI and the FOMC, and we retraced all of the CPI move. I don't like that we're just giving up. We've given up every high successively, right? So that doesn't lean bullish. doesn't feel bullish when you're giving up every single high over and over and over on low time frames. So there's not a lot of bullishness to be found if you go deep on the time frames here. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's over. I just think there's more of a perpetual ask than a perpetual bid at this level. That's it, right? I mean, what else can you say? We go to like what am I looking for? Coinbase, Kraken, doesn't really matter. Do I have anything on this? If we just put a parallel channel on this, we're still technically above the midpoint. I don't see this as Wyckoff anything, so the Wyckoff people might see something different. I just, you know, there's nothing going on here. We talked about flag stuff a while back. That didn't really go anywhere. Even this, this Head and Shoulders down here, like even this didn't really reach its target yet. Even if you're somewhat conservative, I guess. I don't know. Like, again, there's not much going on. What about the 1050? Where are you? 1050. 1050 cross is still bullish. I think last week we talked about Bollinger Bands. We're definitely below the midpoint of that. So if you're bearish, you want to see this Bollinger Band expansion to the downside. I don't know, right? There's not really much going on. Not really much going on. I don't really see this as anything pattern-wise. We can invert it. I've seen a lot of people do this lately where they're like, oh man, this chart is so bearish. I don't know. You know, there's just not much going on. If we put it in terms of the S&P, this may be something that's important. I put an alert on TradingView for this. Again, I don't think this is necessarily anything, but this is Bitcoin relative to the S&P. So I think this breakout, if we get it, will be important for price. But we are going in the opposite direction of the S&P lately. Dom, Q4, baby. Q4. I don't know how many times I can say it. Q4 has always been a good quarter. Doesn't mean it will again, but we can look at the numbers. I don't think it's sell in May and go away. I just think it's hodl in May and come back in October. You know, where's the sorry, where's the chart I'm looking for? Bitcoin returns. So this is quarterly returns. Q4 monster historically, just explosive max bullish violence. Okay. September is almost always absolutely horrible. Garbage. Do not get chopped up in September, please. Even if it's a positive month, it's not usually a very positive month. September is garbage. Here's the other thing to think about, okay? If the ETH ETFs get approved, Gensler today said the end of summer, whatever that means. If and when they get approved, we will see monumental outflows from ETH. Monumental. The question you have to ask yourself, do you think the inflows will compensate for that? I do not think they will. These outflows could be so bad that it drags the entire market down with us. So if I'm an ETH holder, if I'm a Bitcoin, if I'm anybody right now, you do not want to see these getting approved or listed in this condition. Are you kidding me? All we would have would be outflows. That's it. We're not getting inflows in this environment. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So the closer this gets pushed to Q4, the better for everybody. Even still, you got to think, you know, if ETH was unlocked today, I'd be pretty nervous. We don't have a bid on this, and that would flip us bearish. I mean, look at the curve stuff. So I found this index. We don't want this like bearish contagion. Is this even the right index? DeFi indices. I found this earlier. I guess it is. We do not want bearish contagion right now. Okay, this is the DeFi index. It goes back since 2020. DeFi's gone nowhere. It recovered a little bit in December into March. Give all that back. It's just not the time. It's not the time for DeFi. Sorry, DeFi people. It's just not the time. There are a lot of charts in DeFi land that look just like this. Massive head and shoulders risk. We can go down the list, but we do not want things like Curve exploding affecting the majors. Curve I saw Brian Ledger. I saw him talking about this. Like, where do we want to bid this thing? 0. Leave it alone. What are you doing? What are you doing? Look at this chart. Look at this chart. Why are we catching knives on this? I don't get it. I do not understand. It has been down only for 2 years and really has never really been bullish ever. Ever. What are we doing? What are we doing? This thing looks god awful. Okay. Anyway, I wouldn't touch that with a 25-foot pole. Anything else I can say about BTC before I switch gears? I don't think so. It's just nothing, you know? I'm bullish. I think the cycle's got plenty more to go. Much like this, where we took a pause. This was, I don't think this was 100 days, was it? That was 64 days. So that was 64 days, and if we fib this out, if we fib that out, we actually outperformed. So you take the high, you take the low, you project that higher. It projected a target here. We actually overshot that. Okay. So again, if you're looking at like fibs, what are the fibs here? The fibs here are 87 to 96. Okay. I'll be patient for that. Sure. Where were the fibs down here? Here's your high, here's your low. Fibs down here were 37 to 41. We overshot that. Just looking at this range here. This was what? This was 200 days. I mean, this is what we do, right? This is what we do. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not coping. I'm just saying, like, look, not much is going on until we break those highs. And right now it doesn't look like we want to break those highs. But I'm still pretty optimistic on it. We've still got this. You know, again, it's like, it sounds like it's a joke until it breaks out. And it's like, oh yeah, of course that was whatever, right? Oh yeah, of course that was a Head and Shoulders or whatever. Or here, oh yeah, of course that was an M double top. Like, it's, I don't know. We hit the targets. I don't know what to say. Is it voodoo? Yeah, sure. But it works. If it works, then I'm for it. I think that's all I got for BTC. Here's one last thing on BTC. So this is Market Vector, works with Figment, who does staking. I'll put this in the chat. They've got these indices, a whole bunch of them. One of them is the total return, because I hear this a lot from the ETH people. Oh, but that calculation doesn't include staking. Well, have I got the index for you? This is total return ETH, including staking, relative to BTC over the past year. So this looks worse if you're just looking at ETH, right? 3 years, like it doesn't get any better. It doesn't get any better. Year to date. It doesn't get any better. You know, maybe here, literally the ETF announcement saved ETH on the relative value. But Bitcoin has held up better. And if you're staking this, you probably don't have a short-term time horizon or whatever where you're thinking, you know, what does the next 6 months look like? You're probably like, I'm going to hold this for a couple years. It's going to outperform. It hasn't. It hasn't. This is the DeFi index I just looked at. You always got to realize and look at what's in the index. But anyway, let's flip to miners and then I'll look at ETH. Miners have been on an absolute tear. Miners have been on freaking fire. Okay. It's a little weird. I wouldn't say it's completely out of the question that miners are doing as well as they are. But this latest push especially feels politically related, more so than like fundamentally. We looked at the revenue. We looked at the fees. There's really not a reason for that. The other divergence here could be, again, if miners are selling BTC, which looks like they are, they could be benefiting from locking something in, getting more hash rate. I don't know, right? This is like left curve thinking, but this chart looks really good. This chart looks really good. Huge breakout. If we just fib, like whatever this is here, maybe it's an Adam and Eve. We're talking maybe all-time highs on the index. But I do think we're going to need to see new all-time highs in BTC for the miners to continue to break out, for sure. But this chart looks great, right? It's above, it's multi-month highs. This is the mining ETF, by the way. Not all the miners look good. Marathon, look, I'm just looking at technicals here. Keep that in mind, but Marathon doesn't look happy to be alive at 20. Okay. So what's interesting about WGMI, the weightings are all over the place, but it's mostly, I don't know what, CleanSpark, IREN, it's a few others. It's weighted for success. It's not really weighted for total hash rate on the network or something that it could be weighted for. So Mara looks like junk to me. CleanSpark looks fine. It's consolidating. It's just, you know, maybe that's a flag. A lot of this stuff too, it had crazy outperformance. Another thing to look at, if we look at this against BTC percent line, so WGMI since inception, which includes the bear market, is still wildly underperforming BTC, right? What you'll notice is the beta effect for this chart, as in, if Bitcoin is bearish, miners are more bearish. If Bitcoin is bullish, miners should be more bullish. So if we zoom in a little bit, year to date, so WGMI is still down versus BTC year to date. 1 year, you have to zoom in quite a bit. So the 6 month, it's about even. 3 months, it's up big relative to BTC. 1 month, also up big. 5 day, up big. Daily, it's up pretty big. So there's a weird divergence here because for me, Bitcoin flat, WGMI way up. Something clearly is positive for the miners here that isn't for BTC, because it should be a beta to BTC. It should be more bullish when Bitcoin's bullish, more bearish when Bitcoin's bearish. But that's not what we're seeing right now. So that's strange, definitely strange. But back to the individual miners. Some of these that were already successful should continue to do well if Bitcoin breaks out. So CleanSpark looks great. Riot looks like absolute junk. Okay, junk. Still ranging. I've been saying this for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's gone nowhere. IREN was one I shouted out. I think we were and we were at somewhere over here. I don't remember. You can look at the video, but at the time I was saying this could have a weekly breakout, 3-day whatever breakout. So that's played out quite nicely. It's kind of exploded. This daily candle doesn't look great. Looks like a spinning top up here, but it's done very well. The measured moves slightly higher, but IREN pulling a lot of weight on WGMI. Cores also up big. I don't really have anything to say about this. I mean, it's eventually these are just going to collapse, right? they're just gonna roll over. What's really helped them as well is the AI. What is it? AI warehouse, whatever, blah blah blah, where they are utilizing their abilities to build structures and capture power and have these contracts, whatever else, to feed into AI. Cypher. This one looks okay. It's above the daily cloud. The problem with chasing the laggards is when the leaders roll over, the laggards probably roll over, right? It's not like the laggards are gonna overperform the leaders. I don't think. I don't know if this is this anything. I don't. Maybe it's like a weird Head and Shoulders inverse. You could measure this here, but this looks okay. This looks okay to 10. If we can continue the course here, bit farms up big, still kind of ranging. Hut starting to break out, starting to catch a bid. It's also possible that some of these get acquired by AI firms or AI adjacent whatever, right? That's also a possibility here because of their power contracts. Hive pulling up. So they've done really well recently. Wolf has outperformed a lot. This chart looks great. Still looks fine, just based on the measured move. So it's good to see that one pulling up. SDIG has tried to bottom here. Adam and Eve. I don't know. There's maybe a trade there. It just feels like for some of these miners you got to be careful. Gree's up big a lot as well, just because it was so cheap. So all that's helped WGMI a lot recently. Just crazy bullish relative to BTC. The other thing you can also do is WGMI over BTC. And at one point there was a massive channel. My assumption was post-halving, the miners would do much worse. But that has not happened. That has not happened. I don't know if that's an AI thing. I don't know if that's the more successful miners eating the other miners. I don't know. But this has pulled up quite a bit from the lows, right? And I think you really have to avoid, if we look at Marathon, you just have to avoid sitting in something that is going nowhere. Maybe this pops, maybe this pulls up. But man, Marathon relative to BTC, not the move. IREN relative to BTC has done very well. Yeah, WGMI also has an NVIDIA allocation that's at 5%. All right, so that's miners. Let's move on to ETH. Again, like what do you even say? right? What do you even say? It popped on news, sideways down. It's at the daily Kijun. Kind of needs to, let's put on the right cloud here. It kind of needs to pop back up, or it needs to find support down here pretty soon. The cup and handle is still potentially in play. It's just, you know, you have to be smart about cutting yourself off and saying my stop loss is at 3,200 or something, or 3,100, whatever. But if we start making lower lows on this, whew, watch out. Watch out. If this goes back to 2850, man, that's going to trap a lot of people. That's going to trap a lot of people. So I don't really have much to say on ETH. This whole thing could be a cup and handle. It could go sideways for another 6 months. I think the best time to buy ETH, somebody clip this. The best time to buy ETH is post ETH unlock. Give it like 2 weeks. 2 weeks post ETFs. I think that's the move. So this was on BTC, it was how many days? It was 2 weeks. So give it 2 weeks for ETH. I think that's when you buy ETH. 2 weeks post approval, post launch, whatever. 2 weeks post launch, whatever the price is. I think that's when you take a chance on it. Where could this go? I don't know. I mean, if this fails, Bitcoin's the same. You know, if that range fails, we're going low. If this range fails, 2K is in the cards. I'll bet you if we just put bids there, if I just put bids there today, I'll bet you they'll get filled. I'll bet you they'll get filled. EPTC is kind of the same thing. Look at that drain. Just consistently sold off. You hate to see it. I think the bottom for ETH-BTC is going to be 2 weeks after the ETF. If I had to guess. And then you got to dodge September. But yeah, that doesn't look great. That doesn't look great. I don't care what the ETH people say. That looks pretty ugly. Still looks pretty ugly. BNB, man. BNB. It broke out. Beautiful breakout. The best breakout you'll ever see. And then gave it all back. In about the same amount of time. Unfortunate. On the daily, it looks fine, I guess. But man, you just hate to see that. If we go down the list of stuff, for me, this past 100 days that have broke out and failed, this is palladium, right? Breakout, failure. Uranium, breakout, all the way down. COPEX, breakout, all the way back down. XLE, breakout, all the way back down. What else? I guess Pfizer to a certain extent. Breakout, back down. KWeb, breakout, back down. Toast, breakout, back down. It's been rough. Because you want to give these trades, like BNB, like you want to give them time. That's the right thing to do. It's just not the environment to let this stuff breathe, apparently. But anyway, BNB still looks okay. Sol is flat, ranging. Nothing's going on, right? Yeah, gold is another one. Silver, right? All of those have retraced a lot. Gold, to me, try not to bounce around too much so the timestamps are okay. Gold to me looks like a Head and Shoulders. Candles, 4 hour. There's a possibility that that this breaks down. I don't know. I don't know if this is Wyckoff. Might be. I don't know. Where's Jack? Somebody get Jack. But that would not be fun for the gold people. All the way back down to 2K. The problem with this is it spent 4 years consolidating. It breaks out, it's plus 20%, and then all the gold people are like, oh man, it's too much too soon. I gotta take profits. I gotta decrease my allocation. It's like, okay, well then I guess you're never gonna see bullish continuation with thoughts like that, right? Like everybody's just so scared about everything all the time that they're like, oh man, I better take profit, right? Because you had this great pattern break out, and everyone's panicking, and then you have this other pattern. This mega panicking is in panic selling. You have this mega cup and handle that's still got plenty of room. It's just funny to hear people talk about their allocations like that. Silver is the other one. Breakout all the way back down. This thing looks like a Head and Shoulders as well. Not good. Not good. Anyway, all right, where were we? Sol. You know, what is there to say? I don't think there's anything to say. It just hasn't gone anywhere. Hasn't done anything. Link. Flat. AVAX. Angry. Ready to get very angry. Ready to get very angry. Let's be kind. We'll put it there. This might not be a perfect Head and Shoulders, but it's not a Head and Shoulders. And yeah, if BTC breaks like 65, all this stuff is just gonna look atrociously awful. Link, yeah, I agree. Yada, I talked about this on the video, I think this week. Do I have it here? Yeah. If you look at Link on high time frames, I don't want to hold this. Why? What are you doing? Not you, me. I'm saying to myself. Why would you hold this? This thing looks awful. Matic, LTC, like there's just nothing. Dot's another one that looks ready to break down. Near, what a disappointment that was. Ranging flat, render, ranging flat, FET, angry, ocean, angry, AGIX, angry, ADA, ready to break down. There's another Head and Shoulders candidate. And that's not an all-time low. But a lot of this stuff does not look happy to be here. On INJ, one of the few setups that is pointing the other way, even though they gave back most of the breakout today. It still looks a heck of a lot better than almost everything else. IMX is another one. Horrible. Look at this chart. Who's holding this? Who's holding this? Who's holding this? Dom, I actually bought some Sol at 152. I think if you focus on leadership, as in things people are actually trading, you know, you can't go 250 down the market cap list and think this is the one. It's just not the time for that, right? If we look at all this junk in the middle here, all of this looks bad. Filecoin Head and Shoulders as well. Algo Head and Shoulders. Flow, head and shoulders. ENA, another disaster trade that some whale unlocked and unstaked 20 million ENA and just sold it at a multi-million-dollar loss. Okay, what can you do against that, right? This chart looked great, and then nope. See you later. Thanks for playing. So all this stuff looks awful. 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 And then we got meme coins, which Doge has gone back and forth over and over again, but this does not look happy to me. It's already below the daily cloud. Daily cloud's bearish. It's just not the time. SHIB, complete reversal. Pepe has long hit its target. I think it's fine to continue lower. WIF ain't it. WIF is still too expensive. I'm telling you people right now. Everyone's like, oh man, WIF to infinity. Yeah. Okay. What was I gonna measure? Here's your pro tip, okay? 99 cents. $1. That's where I'd have bids for WIF. Floki, complete reversal. There's no bid in the market right now. Bonk looked great, complete reversal. It's just not the time. For low time frames anyway. Yeah, Filecoin is the same story. I can't look at this and say anything bullish. Tell me something that's bullish. I don't have it. I literally can't. It you could say, well, it tried to consolidate and then it just broke down. There's not enough bullishness in alts right now. Bear case for this would be what? Like a pretty, that's probably an all-time low. It just doesn't look happy to be here. Doesn't look happy to be here. So yeah, alts really not the move. Let's look at our best charts a month ago. We talked about Near, that failed. Pepe, that played out. BNB to some degree played out. Bonk played out. Arweave just gave it all up. AIOZ gave it all up. These are all failed bullish reversals potentially. Render, we talked about that, gave it all up. So it's just where we're at in the market. Does anybody else have any alts they want me to look at? Anything else? I'm guessing anything that's requested is not going to be bullish. I'm guessing. Yeah, it's somebody. That's the thing, right? People are focused on the alt that's been here 5 minutes ago. They could care less about anything that's been here for a month. I don't even think Mother is in TradingView, is it? If it's not in TradingView, I'm not pulling it up, but oh, thanks, dude. Vainsky with 5 subs. Like, I don't know. I would never touch this thing. I don't have a good answer for you. This is the daily, right? This is the daily. So it was listed a couple days ago. I assume all of this goes to 0. The difference between Lisk, RIP, Lisk, delisted, Lisk BTC anyway. The difference between alts now versus Sin BTC RIP. Trying to find the thing. The difference between alts now versus, let's say, Pepe, or what's another one? Bonk. Sure. Like you were coming off of a massive spike in the majors in February, BTC specifically. You were coming off liquidity jump from the reverse repo. We just don't have the we don't have the juice to push this junk, right? We just don't. We just don't. All right, what else was requested? Pajamas? I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Why are we, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we trading this? You know, what are we doing? What are we doing? OIH? That's not an alt. Is this what you're talking about? Mr. Young? This kind of looks like XLE. It looks like it's the XLE equivalent for Van Eck. Is that right? I don't know. Doesn't look great. Just a huge, huge range. High time frames look okay. High time frames look okay. I haven't looked at Dixie yet. LPT, live peer. Live peer. And, you know, if I had this, it depends where you got into this trade. But if I was up this much, just depends. If I'm in from 6, I'm probably taking a little profit. If I'm in from 24, I'm hoping for a breakout. But it's unlikely that any of this stuff breaks out without BTC getting more bullish. It's just easier. It's an easier trade. Like, it could move alone, but that doesn't mean that that's likely. IMO. I don't see any other ton. Okay. I was looking for any other alt I'd ever heard of. I don't know how you people find this stuff. Where do you people trade these things? Who are you calling you people? Yeah, ton I said Thursday or Wednesday on the video. I'm trying to find the chart. There it is. Ton looks good to me. But again, you just have to be careful. So this looks like an ascending triangle. It's a high market cap that people are paying attention to and trading. Great. Perfect. It's not this list of junk on the side here where nobody cares about it. It has a bullish bias on the pattern, clearly making series of higher lows. It looks like it wants to break out. You just have to be careful of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin rolls over, this probably rolls over with it, right? So you just have to be careful of that. But it looks good. It looks good. Brett, man, I don't know. What are we doing? What are we doing, folks? Here I'm giving this like multivariate BTC analysis for the first half hour. And we got people trading stuff like this. But I asked. This is on me. I asked. Didn't they rug this once already? I don't really have anything. I don't have anything major to say about this. You always want to try to identify some basic trend if you can. is there a bid on this thing or not? This is any chart. The cloud's usually super helpful for that. So to see this rolling over a little bit is not the greatest thing. You've also got this like triple top problem. It's hard to really analyze this because there's not a lot of volume liquidity, at least on Poloniex. Isn't this on Coinbase? There you go. KuCoin. There's your head and shoulders. Doesn't look good to me. Thanks, Michael. Fryer? Not crypto, right? First drug was a test drug, yeah. Is this the right one? Battery? Is this one of like the meme solar setups? Yes, it's the right one. So what do I like about this? I like that it was sideways for months, right? Clearly has some shades of something here, right? Much like those, I don't know if you're here earlier, I was going through like all these failed breakouts that we've had. This is another one. This is just another failed breakout for now. Daily cloud. Still slightly, can we see that? Yeah. It's slightly above the daily cloud. So what I did, so here's what I do. If this were me, this is what I would do. You can either say, I don't know where your entry is, but you can either say, I'm cutting some of this or all of this at 173. I'm cutting some of this or all of this at 150. Those are the levels I would watch. Like this platinum palladium chart, same deal. Can somebody get their car alarm, please? It tried to break out, failed, broke the cloud. Now it's breaking lows, right? And that's unacceptable to me to stick around. So that's what I'd be watching for on Frey. But the setup looked really good. It just went nowhere, right? Now if this succeeds, this would be the level like $3. Somewhere up here. It tried. Definitely tried. Just couldn't hold it. You're lucky you guys missed it. It was leaf blower day earlier. Or, grass blowing, whatever. What else? Green? Is that crypto? Is this energy or something? It doesn't really matter, but it's trying to consolidate, right? It's got this, it looks like the miners did before they broke out. It's got this like tight coiling, Oops, what did that do? I don't know, it doesn't look bullish. But like the other stuff, it's always easiest for me to identify some sort of trend channel. You gotta be kidding me with this car alarm. Can you guys hear that? The car alarm? Like, what are we doing? Clearly out of the downtrend it was in, consolidating. I think what you do here is you just set an alert. You set an alert at like 126 or something. You set an alert here, and you just wait for it. Yeah, I don't have much to say other than that. Oh yes, says Karen. Okay, what else? What else? What else? FXS. This is crypto DeFi. Is that an all-time low? I mean, not much. There's not much bullish about all-time lows. Bullish selling, selling, bullish selling. Doesn't look great. Doesn't look great. Doesn't look great. There's a bull div, but you do not like seeing all-time lows for sure. Not for me. Silver. So silver low time frames is a mix of head and shoulders versus falling wedge. This is just why it's important. Like on the copper trade, for me, copper's down a lot, but I think I'm break even on the position. I wasn't chasing it. So if you were chasing silver, I can see how you're maybe nervous, but like the gold thing, it took 3 years to break out, and all of a sudden it just can't hold on to anything. So I don't really know what to say about that, but it looks okay. If you want to put a trailing stop loss on this, see, the problem is these daily trailing stop losses have not worked out for this chart at all. You've had multiple trailing stop losses trigger here. Up here, you've had multiple trailing stop losses trigger. Where's alligator? Alligator's rolling over bearish. So up here, it's telling you, get out. That's what it's telling you, based on low time frame trend metrics. It's just really unfortunate because this pattern took years to play out. Years to play out. They produce next generation batteries. Ah, okay. That's Freya. So that's silver. So what do you do? Do you have a time horizon in mind? Are you short term? Are you on leverage? These are all things I can't answer, but I don't know. You know, it's like, what are people doing with gold here? I assume most gold people are just adding on dips. I don't think they're selling necessarily, unless it's like reallocation based on the percentage move, but I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. Tilray? You said this looks interesting? Why is this interesting? I do not like buying weakness, so this is not a chart for me. MSOS is the ETF. That's another one that broke out and then just gave it all back. Just could not hold on. Could not hold on to the highs. It trapped. If you bought this trade and are trapped, I apologize, but it trapped a lot of dumb money from people who are like, oh man, these regulatory approvals are so bullish. It just went nowhere. You know, there's so many different ways that you can sort of tell we're not in a broadly bullish environment. Breakouts are failing, breakouts are reversing, and we're just giving up any gains very quickly across the board. Crypto, alts, high caps, low caps, mid caps, whatever. everything is just being eaten by Nvidia, you know. Rose, if it's on TradingView, we'll look at it. Oasis Network. It's, you know, it's got this thing. Kind of need to dodge that. It depends because, you know, again, where's your entry? That's a question. What is your time horizon? Do you think this is going to be some multi-cycle gem? Then you just hold it. It hit the daily cloud level. It's done better than a lot of stuff, so I'll give you that. If we rewind the clock to, if this works, hello, TradingView? If we go to like here, I would have said this thing looks like garbage, right? But it survived. So that's good. It's neutral. It's neutral. FSLR. First Solar, another solar company. All right. Hey, it's going up. That's a chart. It's going up. It is going up. Almost at all-time highs. What can we say about this thing? So you said you entered at 220 thinking about adding. Yeah, I mean, look, it's strong. It's outperformed a lot of stuff. I don't hate it. It's just solar. That's what I don't like. But it's definitely strong on technicals. It's up a lot super quickly. You could go down to like, what is it, the 4 hour maybe? You could add at 240 if it breaks down. You could add at 306 if it breaks up. You could just DCA. I would let it do its thing a little bit. Here's another level of 220, 227. It's just up. What is this? It's up 80%, 90% in 50 days. So I'd be careful about that. But yeah, it looks good. Looks better than most any other chart we've looked at today. Can we ban car alarms? I wish. Do I and Brian discuss a stream? Yeah, I've talked to him about it. He's just busy. I don't know. I always tell him I'm here whenever you want to record, if you want to record, but he's just busy. Something happening with weed laws. Ken Plant asks, is something happening with weed laws? You'd think he'd know. He's a freaking plant. Yeah, they approved. What is it? They decreased the severity of cannabis or something, right? Germany first, US next. Am I into real estate? No, real estate's not for me. Ken Plant quit the plants. He's a poser. Unbelievable. All right, we'll look at Legacy real quick. And then we'll get out of here. Where is my stuff? There it is. S&P looks good. All-time highs. TKC claims did not matter. The cup and handle was more important. And you could almost argue the indices don't even matter because what are the indices? Nvidia, mostly. Nvidia has been the trade since May. It's always the trades you don't take, you know? This thing was setting up for a breakout. I just did not want to trade the earnings, but The tech was there. If we go NVIDIA versus BTC, it's probably a very depressing chart. Yeah, this thing, I mean, over the past decade, it's lost a lot, but over the past, what is that, 6 years? It's done pretty well. It's done pretty well. Maybe similar to Bitcoin dominance, you know, it's like a similar idea where maybe this rotates back into BTC at some level that makes sense. SMCI, this is one I've been watching every day for a long time, just waiting. Just because I know the market is watching it and the market has traded this thing and it's had a lot of churn. So I'm waiting for the day that this turns bullish on the cloud again. Massive day on that today. Could probably go down to like, no, still bearish on the 4 hour. Apple, it's really not the company for me in general, but this thing has just exploded after what apparently was a very important developers conference. Yeah, that's helped the S&P a lot. Microsoft also at all-time highs, right? Just continues to melt higher, right? Just, you could say, well, this is a wedge, this is all this other stuff. There's clearly a cup and handle on that. It hasn't reached the target yet. Looks fine. Looks fine. Just night and day compared to a lot of this other stuff. Amazon just chilling at all-time highs. I have the wrong cloud on, don't I? Amazon, you got to be careful about the head and shoulders stuff. So, not for me. Meta, breakout, cloud looks okay. Looks fine. Google, I think this is also at all-time highs. Yeah. It's like a continuous up chop, you know? There's not anything specific going on here, but it just keeps chipping higher, chipping higher, chipping higher. Netflix is another one, just continuous up chop. If anything, it looks like it's ready to break out to me. It looks like it's gonna try. It's got some sort of, I don't know, some sort of something going on here. Guess you could argue diamond top, but this looks like it wants to go to me. Just super choppy. Tesla, oh man, I had options on this. The options were down a lot going into the meeting. I took the trade based on the pattern and the cloud. So I closed the options today. Flat, I guess. I don't know. Options just aren't for me. I just have not done well with options. It's still got the head and shoulders inverted on its side. It is in the daily cloud. It's probably eventually going to try to do fine. But it gave everything back today. Not everything, but it gave a lot of the move back today. KWeb, Chinese Internet ETF, still not bearish. It just needs time. I think a lot of this stuff just needs time, but it looks good to me. Just, you got to give it, I'm mainly just saying this to myself, but you know, this could just keep doing whatever. The ultimate level on this is I guess 33 to 36. But it looks okay. It went down for years, sideways for years, and that's where I come in and get excited about it. So it looks good to me. So S&P all-time high, we talked about that. Cup and handle. I think the question for a lot of people is, do we squirrel around in this region, or do we go to 56 and then just die, you know? I don't think we die. I think we just hit a natural point eventually where we range for a little longer. But there was even, for you chart pattern people, if we go to the ES chart, I have it on one of these. There was even a cup and handle at the very top. Yeah, there it is. There was a cup and handle on this at the very top. If I can find a time frame that makes sense. No, that's not good enough. Let's just go daily. Sorry. Cup and handle, you know? So whenever I'm thinking about alts or some random stock or crypto, whatever, I'm always using this knowledge the same way. This is always what you're looking for, always, for bullish continuation. A pattern plus TK cross plus cloud above, price above cloud. So all that looks very good to me still. It might give it all back and retrace to 54, I don't know, but it still looks good. QQQ, same thing. Just lights out for anybody trying to short this thing. IWM still looks angry to me, looks bearish to me. I don't know. I guess you're bullish on this if you think rates are coming down, but that could be months. You could be in this thing for months doing nothing. Dixie, okay, DXY. BTC has been very volatile because DXY has been all over the place. I mean, look at this low time frame chart. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This thing has been insane. It's been insane with every print. I don't know. So this needs to calm down for Bitcoin to finally take off. So I would definitely keep an eye on this. But it's been all over the place. All over the place. You do not want this breaking up. You do not want that breaking up. The euro, unfortunately, looks turbo bearish here, which is just the opposite of DXY, essentially. It's been ranging for 2 years and does not look happy. TLT has done decently okay. TLT pulled up because, so TLT is the long bond ETF. On the daily, it looks like it's ready for a breakout. TLT looks good. 10-year yield continues to fall, but the DXY is going in the opposite direction. So it's tough. It's tough because we should be, DXY should be falling here, but it's just not. It's not falling. I don't know if it's a geopolitical thing. I don't know. It looks, I don't know. It's all over the place, right? It's all over the place. All right. Apple just said AI. That's what happened. I agree, Mustafa. That's buybacks plus AI equals new all-time highs. I said it on Sunday, I think, but on the daily, Apple had a huge TKC clamp. It's even worse now. You can't short something that's just sitting at all-time highs, but I also was not about to do anything with this chart. You know, I said it was bearish basically at the bottom, and then they announced that buyback, and ever since the buyback announcement, it's been turbo bullish. Is what it is. Do I have a job? I don't have a job. I'm not hireable, Brian. No, I just trade full time. Sorry, just reading chat. Yeah, SMCI we looked at. Again, I thought this was going to break down. It didn't. So anyway, just waiting for a breakout there. What is this list, Nerk? BTC divided by worldwide population. We can look at some of these. Hasbro. No. What about SMLR? This is the company that announced that they're buying BTC. See, again, it's like it's a breakout that just failed to hold. Failed to hold. We can go down this list. We'll rapid fire. Solar ETF. No. It's trying to do something, but it's doesn't look great on the weekly. GM, that's a breakout on the weekly. But do you really want to buy GM? Looks okay. Looks okay. Looks a little late to jump in here, but lithium, oof. Another one. You'd think that was the breakout. Boom. Down, back down. It's had a bunch of failed breakouts on the daily. Yeah, just not the time. Not the time yet. ARM, I think. Is this the one that's done? Yeah, this is the one that's done really well. It's at all-time highs, you know? It's bullish. It's about as best as I can do. There's no real setup there. It's just at all-time highs. AMD. Looks like it needs time. Looks like Link. It's got that head and shoulders fractal. CRISPR. Similar head and shoulders fractal. Trying to break out on the weekly. There's just so much stuff that just looks kind of okay, you know? Just gotta add some line, put an alert on said line, and come back to it, I think. TSM is another, yeah, this is all-time highs too, right? Pretty sure. Not really a setup. Looks good. SMH is the semiconductor ETF. That's all-time highs. You know, all this stuff. The problem is it's either like super bullish and just doesn't really give you an entry. Even if we look at this stuff from 2020 and 2021, it just kind of doesn't stop, you know? Like there really hasn't been an entry here on the weekly. The daily, you can say the cloud gave you a really good entry down here. But up here, it's not really an entry. No idea what that is. CONY? Coin options. Oh, is this like covered calls on coin or something? I don't know what's going on there. Synopsis. Is this another chip company? Looks good. See, at least this one hasn't broken out yet, you know? But the problem, again, like I keep saying, here's another great example of this is Morgan Stanley. You know, if you look at this chart, it had the setup, it had the breakout, gave it all back. It's probably a laggard relative to Goldman Sachs, okay? Goldman Sachs, JPM, clearly the leaders in the group, and those are pulling back. JPM is pulling back. This is banking, financial stuff. So it's like, yeah, you could take this trade. What is it, SNPS? You could take this trade. The chart looks fine. The tech looks good. It's just you kind of missed the leaders and you're hoping the laggards catch up and the leaders don't reverse. But this looks good. This looks good. BRCC. I guess. I don't know what this is, but it's making highs. Doesn't look horrible. Doesn't look horrible. Oh, we're going down the whole list. Isn't Squarespace getting acquired? Gray television. That does not look good. That's ugly. That's ugly. No thanks. Squarespace. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, isn't this getting acquired? Or going private or something? I think that's why it gapped up like that. INTC is chips again. Yikes. Yucky. Yucky. This goes back to the BTC argument. It's like, you're just better off trading the majors with a majority of your stack. It's like, you know, you're just better off trading NVIDIA with a majority of your stack, because that's clearly where everyone's looking and paying attention and is already bullish. I don't know where this goes from here, but if you look at the semis, the list, right? It's just, you know, NVIDIA is probably going to keep going. All right, a few more, then we'll get out of here. Lope, what is this? Grand Canyon Education. I don't know. It's okay. I don't know what to say about that one. ICE. There we go. Sure, it's an all-time highs. This looks like Bitcoin, you know? It's got a similar head and shoulders thing up here. Sure, why not? Why not? It's like Synopsys. I would Interdigital. I don't know, that's all over the place, but it looks like an all-time high. Lenovo. All these charts are kind of just like fine, you know? It's like, do we set an alert at 10 and call it a day? I don't know. There's this for infinity. Are these like what is it, like online education or something? Is that what these are? I have no idea. Sure. I don't see an entry here. There's a channel. I don't know. To take, yeah, these must be online education or something. I don't know. Trend-wise, it looks fine. Another education something. I don't know. That's a weird category to be focused on. I'm just going through this guy's list that he asked me to look at. Bearish on that one. Upstart. What is RR? Rich Tech Robotics. Oof. Needs to get out of this angry channel. Not bullish down here. Reddit. Haven't looked at Reddit in a minute. I don't know. Looks okay. I don't know. I don't know. It's not for me. You could argue cup and handle, I guess. Looks okay. BTC divided by worldwide population. Let's take a look. I think I gotta do, what is the narrative on this? That there isn't enough BTC for the world or something? Looks like BTC USD, you know, it looks the same. Unless that's wrong. No, that's right. Bullish? I don't know. All right. I think that's all we got. I think that's all we got. I'm just reading chat here. Yeah, we need Dixie to calm down. We need Dixie to calm down. Have a good Thursday. Thanks to everybody watching on the replay. And I'll catch you guys on Sunday. I would avoid the leverage. The TLDR is do something else besides trading right now. That's the TLDR. Thanks for hanging out. Take care, everyone.